Dr. David and Gwenith Carney sailed from Liverpool to Nigeria on the 23rd of January 1958. At that time, no other hospital or clinical program in northeastern Nigeria was caring for people with leprosy. The people living in leprous colonies were outcasts, and over the years, Dr. and Mrs. Carney helped integrate the medical care of people with leprosy into general medical care.
When I was at school, in grammar school, I believed that this is what God intended me to do, and I changed my subjects, took biology for the first time, for instance, in the sixth form, and took up a medical career because I felt this was the most useful way I could be a missionary.
And do you see yourself primarily now as a missionary or as a doctor?
First and foremost, missionary, but also, of course, inevitably wound up with it as a doctor too.
They were appointed to the Borno leper farm colony at Molai near Maiduguri. This medical center for the care of leprosy sufferers had been established in 1937 by the Sudan United Mission 6 miles outside Maiduguri, the capital of Borno province. Dr. Carlin was the only doctor in the whole province of Borno in northeastern Nigeria at the time. In 1960, challenged by the unmapped vax expanse in northeastern Nigeria, Dr. and Mrs. Carlin began to establish new leprosy clinics and provide general medical care to local communities. Dr. and Mrs. Carlin's work expanded beyond Nigeria to 3 of the other nations which share border with Lake Chad. Their work also reached Chad, Cameroon, and Niger. This ministry was carried out with boats.
He is also severely affected. His fingers, I think, we'll probably be able to keep them all right. His feet are all right. The rest of his body will probably be fairly clean.
Dr. Carlin also served in many roles during his full-time mission work in Nigeria. He served as medical superintendent of Von Christian Hospital, Plateau State, and chief medical officer of both the Sudan United Mission and the later formed Church of Christ in Nations. Even after returning to the UK, Dr. Carlin did not cease being active in mission work. He served in various positions and capacities. He served as the international representative of Cooking and of SUM British branch, and he also served as the general director of Across. He also pioneered and founded Active Service Trust, a UK charity, founded Medic Assist International, and served as Global Commission Partners Europe Director. In 2002, Dr. Carlin was instrumental in the starting of Stefanos Foundation and has remained an active partner and supporter since then. Through Active Service Trust, Dr. Carlin supported the work of Stefanos Foundation and reached the persecuted church in Nigeria till when he went to be with the Lord.
I first came into contact with Dr. Carlin at the SUM Former Missionary Conference in Doncaster, UK. That was in 2002. Myself and my wife was invited to speak at a conference about what God has given us as a vision to run in Nigeria. It was at the moment we started a movement in my church of helping the youth to see what the British missionaries did in Nigeria. It's a move that we intend will mobilize Cooking youth to look more into taking the legacy and moving the church forward. We planned a conference to hold in Bauchi and invited him to come and speak to the youths. It was a tremendous success. Baba spoke of his vision and his involvement with the work of SUM in Nigeria. Those are the founders of Church of Christ in Nations. I was motivated in the kind of passion that Baba had for this country, his desire for this country to come together, the church in this country to come together and form a foundation for the believers in the nation. When we were recording Baba Carlin's work in Nigeria, it was clear that the church was going to face a challenge and the mission was going to take a different direction. It was on that table that I knew that we were going to face a challenge with hatred from Islam, and how we were going to respond to that was going to be a big challenge. Together with Baba Carlin, we started looking at how God will want the church to respond. I never knew it would be me, that it would have anything for me with me in the vision, until Baba thought that the way I mobilized the youth at that Cooking Youth Mission Conference, that it was remarkable, and he thinks that God would want to use me in the days ahead. And that was how they supported me to start Stefanos Foundation in 2003. Ever since 2002, 2003, Baba Carlin started coming to this country until now. Thank God for what God used him to do. We have seen how we had passion to support the church in Nigeria. At a point, we never had enough funding. We will cry to God. Baba will cry together with me, and he will go to America, will go everywhere to try and raise support for the persecuted church in Nigeria. He started Active Service Trust, and any funding that he received from Active Service was 100% remitted to Stefanos Foundation. Someone says jokingly, you think Dr. Carlin is a white man? And he says to me that if you scratch deep into his skin is actually black. That is how much Baba lived for this country. The challenge and the rest of the whole thing depend on us. What can we say God has called us to do in the face of the earth? I have seen a man that God used tremendously.